Terminator.
Today we will be reviewing Arcadian featuring Nic Cage. Arcadian was a movie chosen by our dear patrons. If you want to help select a movie for us to review every month, go to patreon.com/horrormovietalk. Today's episode is brought to you by Secret Bunker. Everyone knows the apocalypse is right around the corner, but no one wants to be that crazy prepper with a bunker. It's like going to the bathroom. We all do it, but it's a little embarrassing when everyone knows you're doing it. So to save you the embarrassment of looking like a crazy person with a secret bunker, we will install a safe room under your house discreetly by tunneling underground your home and building it in private. Your neighbors will have no idea you have 50 gallons of drinking water and countless tubs of grain right below your abode. Call now and you'll receive two AA batteries on us.
Is this a metal thing?
Yes.
Little taste.
David, what is this?
It's pretty thick.
Great.
I have to kill a lot of people. Just tell me what you want me to fuck.
I have big tits and a tiny vagina.
Oil me up, Daddy.
I can't believe that Bryce prefers big tits. Mistletoe alert. This is back country.
This guy was a real jerk.
How long can Hugo be pregnant?
Chomp, 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 chomp.
Oh, she's such a dick, David.
Okay, everybody, put on your corpse handling gloves.
Ew.
Hoodie Picasso.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk. We are an opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. I'm Max Allen, a silly but up-to-date factual man, and with me as always is Bryce Hansen, the large man with the larger brain. We review a different horror movie. Oh, I should probably mention that Sydney is not here today, obviously. Sydney had a wedding to go to, so everyone reach out to Sydney, tell him you missed him, and we'll have to suffer without today.
Mm-hmm.
We review a different horror movie each week. New theatrical releases always get priority, but we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. The full video is available on YouTube, so don't be a square. Make sure to share. Also check out patreon.com/horrormovietalk. We already talked about that. The equivalent of the adult section at your video rental store. If you want to add your P to the community pool, go to horrormovietalk.com or call 682-253-4468 and leave us a voicemail. We've got a great show for you today. We will be reviewing Arcadian. We start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. Later on, we'll be discussing new theatrical releases from the past year or two that we wished we had time to cover, but unfortunately went by without an official Horror Movie Talk review. This is nothing super formal. I just thought it would be nice to at least acknowledge some of the movies that have come out that we haven't had the chance to get to, and maybe talk about some of the good ones that we've seen or ones that we think look interesting. I think there's been a few that have slipped by that I would have liked to see.
Definitely. I think the ones that I missed out on most is like the limited release ones. There's usually some pretty good limited release ones that just aren't available to Hicks in Idaho, so I can't cover them.
Clown in the Cornfield was here. We could have done Clown in the Cornfield. No one wanted to do Clown in the Cornfield. All right, let's get into this review. Arcadian can be found on Hulu. Bryce, what does Arcadian mean? That means
it can also be found on Hoopla. I think you should mention that.
I'm so sick of Hoopla, dude. You're bringing up Hoopla like it's a valid option.
It's also on AMC Plus / Shudder.
Okay.
But more importantly, it's on Hoopla.
Dude, shut up about Hoopla. What is your axe to grind about Hoopla? You're like so invested
it's free.
In promoting
Take advantage of your library, folks. It's a valuable resource.
You're Hoopla. what does Arcadian mean? Because Arcadia means like a paradise, right? Like a utopia. Am I right about that? Arcadian maybe relating to a paradise?
Arcadian, relating to or constituting an ideal rural paradise.
Okay, so I was pretty close.
Relating to Arcadia in Greece.
Okay, nice.
Or an idealized country dweller.
That sounds like my dream right there.
Or a native of Arcadia in Greece.
You know, my dream is to eventually live on a farm. I don't want to take care of any animals. But I do like the idea of waking up and seeing like a sheep bleeding and there's like a hill. You know what I mean?
So someone else's sheep on your land, you mean?
Well, I'll have a farmhand.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I think I know that I would hate having to work the land.
I don't want to work. I want to enjoy the land.
I'd be one of those farmers that just like doesn't know anything, so will just like let hay grow and have someone else in a neighboring farm mow it and like just pay me to take it.
Yeah.
And then just lose, millions of dollars a year.
Is hay worth millions of dollars?
Well, no. I mean, you gotta to have a farm, you have to pay a ton of property tax.
Man.
And so that's why you have to work the land to make it worth it. Because if you have like 60 acres of
I
land
don't need
that you're
60 acres, dude. Give me 5 acres.
Well, you just dream small then.
Well, I don't want to pay millions of dollars in property tax, that's for sure. I want an Arcadia, man.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this movie a little bit. So, synopsis. In a post-apocalyptic world, Nic Cage raises 2 teenage boys he rescues as babies. I was a little confused. Did he rescue these babies or...
I'm a cat. I'm a sexy cat.
That was
Thank
Nic
you.
Cage.
No, thank you so much for that. Did he rescue those boys or were those his actual children?
I'm pretty sure those were his children.
Oh, really? Man, I totally misread that then because I thought that he like found those children. But when I read on the Wikipedia, it was like talking about like his kids. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Maybe I misunderstood. Okay, so he has 2 babies. Unfortunately for Cage, he is made aware of the simple fact that teenagers don't stop being teenagers just because everyone's lives are at stake. So 15 years later, these 2 boys couldn't be more different and are constantly arguing, picking on each other and getting into mischief. Each night, the young boys and their father batten down the hatches and prepare for the invasion of strange and mystical creatures that threaten to break down the door and devour them all. It is soon discovered that their bunker may not be as safe as they once hoped, and the family must learn how to take responsibility for themselves and survive in this impossibly desolate world. Another day, another
Well,
random
it's not
horror.
too desolate. I mean, it's not like the sun is like shadowed over.
I
Seems
meant
like-
more that civilization has crashed.
Right.
But you're right. It is still beautiful.
Mhm.
Maybe I misspoke. It is. I'd take that farm.
There's worse apocalypses to live in.
Sure.
Could be
Yeah.
like The Road,
I mean, this movie is basically, it's so similar to like A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, there's so many movies like this.
Yeah. I mean, this is a low budget movie. It's not like, I don't think they were too ambitious about it necessarily. I'm not even sure this got in the theaters, did it?
I don't remember. I never saw it come to theaters, so it probably didn't. Probably just went
So
straight to
yeah, I mean,
streaming.
it's one of those like genre movies where it's like everyone knows it's kind of playing on a similar theme of another movie that worked, but with just a slight twist. And it's still not bad. It's still not.
No, it's not. In fact, let me get into this review. So, another day, another random horror movie starring Nic Cage. This man will really take.
I'm a cat. I'm a sexy cat. Oh, oh, oh.
Do you want to just start like counting in before you put that drop right where I'm trying to talk?
No.
This man will really take any role at this point, which is unfortunate because I feel like he was a little underutilized in this film. Not that I think Cage has to be the main character in every movie he's in, but his character is pretty quickly disposed of for the majority of the movie, which I think may not have been the right move. This can't even really be classified as a true Nic Cage movie, as he's more of a supporting character and has very little screen time, even though he's literally on the poster and all the marketing. Despite that, I think the other characters manage this movie pretty well on their own. I like the brothers and their differing personalities. Each one brings their own emotional struggle to the film, and I felt like I could relate to each of them in different ways. For the first half of the movie, the monsters are well obscured in the darkness, and the glimpses we do get of them are pretty terrifying. However, eventually we get a little more showing the monster than I think is warranted, and they end up looking pretty silly by the end of it. There is some character development, emotional moments, and intense scenes, which make this movie a pretty easy watch. I didn't find myself checking the time hardly at all, and I was really interested to see how things would play out. There are themes of like growing up too fast and taking ownership of your own mistakes that played out well for me. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I'm about the same, 7 out of 10. It is a good, like, little character movie about adolescence and about, a crisis that happens and how a couple of teenage boys could deal with it. Yeah, I mean, people dog on Nic Cage doing any movie, but it's not terrible. Like, I mean, he could do a lot worse in terms of doing every movie. I think he has a really good sense of picking low budget movies that are interesting enough that it's worth him being involved in. It's not like, and they're not all the same, it's not cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm.
You look at people like, what's his name? Shit. I mentioned him on the last podcast and I can't remember his name now. Steven Seagal. You look at like people like Steven Seagal or like Bruce Willis towards the end of his career when he was getting senile. And it's literally just, it's obvious that they're there to sit in a chair and deliver lines for 2 days to get shot out of a budget movie. And the budget movie is just like really cheap action and disposable. There's no actual story to it. And I think Nic Cage is involved in movies where he gets to be an actual character. He brings something. He's a really professional. He's not just sitting on a chair, but he's utilizing them in a budget way for a big name. So like in this one, instead of sitting in a chair and delivering all his lines, he is only in it for about half the movie, and then the second half he's injured and kind of just lying in bed for most of it. So,
I think out of all the movies he's been in recently, this is the one I would have said he probably could have done without, because he just doesn't. I don't think he really brings anything to the table in this movie. Like,
he's a good actor. I
no,
think
he is a good actor. I think anyone could have done this role. It wasn't a difficult role. He mentors his kids for the first 15 minutes of the movie, gets injured, and then has a little screen time at the end.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he does a good job. I think like having this caliber of actor be able to like bring the gravitas to the situation is valuable. Like if you had put like, I don't know, who's a disposable like mid-level actor.
I feel like my gripe is that they just have him in the movie so that they can have him on the poster, right? Like, why aren't the kids on the poster? Because they're not famous actors.
Well, the kids are on the poster too.
I have the poster behind me. It's Nic Cage with the words Arcadian.
This poster is on it. They're on
Okay,
it.
you're right. You're right. Listen, I just think sometimes big actors are pulled into movies so that they can be the face of it without actually.
Well, yeah. I mean, I agree. That is how low budget Hollywood works, but this is not the best example of it because I think he's actually a good character in it.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, I really liked it. It's a very small story. Like you said, it's reminiscent of Quiet Place. Yeah, the monsters are the least important part of it, and towards the end, they're pretty ridiculous. Like they made some strong choices that are
insane. In fact, hold on, let me see.
I mean, they're very like Lovecraftian and but like goofy Lovecraftian.
Hold on, I've got to pull up a picture of this because this is all I could think of. Hold on. This is all I could think of while watching this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I mean more apt would be this.
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, it's like anyways, we'll get into it in the spoilers and talk more about it. And there's an actually interesting bit of trivia that is kind of hilarious and it reframes the movie for me. But yeah, it's good. It's a good little low budget, intimate horror movie, monster movie, apocalypse movie. Really watchable. Nic Cage does it good in it, but if you're expecting him to be in the whole movie, he's not. He's only really in about the first third, really.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good. The kids are good in it. I can't remember where the one kid was in. They've been in other stuff. The kid that played Joseph.
He looks really familiar.
He was Bill in It.
Oh yeah, that's where I've seen him.
He was also in Knives Out. And the other kid was in. What's the other one? Nothing important. He was in the Lost in Space Netflix show, I think.
I didn't recognize him at all, but yeah, that's a big one. How did he fall off so hard? He went from It to this?
Well, he's a kid. Is there a lot of or is there a lot of really good movies for 14-year-olds right now?
Probably not.
Yeah.
You could be on Riverdale. No, actually, you have to be 35 to be on Riverdale.
Right. Got to be 35 to play a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
It's actually gotten a lot better nowadays. Or maybe I'm just getting older. It's harder for me to tell. Like when I was a teenager, like definitely people that were in their 30s were playing people in high school, like in Scream.
Oh yeah, no, it has gotten better.
And now it feels like younger people are playing teenagers and they look like teenagers to me. But I'm also in my 40s, so 20-year-olds look like teenagers to me at this point.
I mean, the most egregious to me is when Tobey Maguire was playing Spider-Man and you have that scene where the passengers on the train take off his mask and they're like, he's just a kid. And I'm like, that is a 35-year-old man.
Yeah. That's a grown-ass man.
Yeah. It's just so funny. But no, I do think that movies have generally
I think Hollywood has learned that you cast twinks to play, young kids like Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet, Tom Holland.
See, now Timothy Chalamet, they've gone the other way because he looks like a teenager and he's supposed to be like this, charismatic adult leader in Dune. You're like, why the fuck would they follow this little twink?
Because he's attractive.
Mm.
All right. let's get into this mid-roll. If you're listening to these commercials, you should know that you don't have to. You can head on over to patreon.com/horrormovietalk, sign up for the appropriate tier, and get ad-free content, bonus content. You can vote for movies like this one. You can, do lots of really fun stuff. Be a part of a community. So head on over there. Also go to horrormovietalk.com/shop to get hoodies, shirts. Oh, sorry about that. Dude, I just read, I had a horrifying realization last night because you were just talking to me about how some of our numbers were back up to where they were. And I was so happy, and I was like, maybe I should look at the things that'll make me sad. So I went on Apple Podcast and read some of our reviews. Dude, the amount of 1-star reviews that are like disgusting burps, unfunny. I'm like, oh my gosh, these are so mean, but kind of true.
It's not for everyone. I mean,
it's not for everyone. Well, it's telling that the only ratings we get are 5 stars and 1 star. Either you love it or you hate it.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's divided.
If you want to support us, please go leave a nice review because we have a lot of mean ones. And
we've gotten a lot of 1 stars lately. It's pretty rough. Mm-hmm. And some of it we brought upon ourselves.
No, it's totally justified. Hey, we suck sometimes, but sometimes we're really good. So give us a chance. Hey, check out our resident artist, Dustin Goebel, a professional artist. He does artwork for the show every single week. So amazing. I can't believe he even fits us into his schedule.
He doesn't even use AI. He does it himself.
No, he hand draws those
human
things.
Being.
Crazy. Yeah, it's really impressive. I'm really grateful for him. He works very hard for us. So he also takes commissions for artwork from HMT fans. Contact him at dgoebel00 on Instagram. That's DGOEBEL00. Make your artistic dreams come true. Tell him HMT sent you. Again, if you want to call into the show, leave a voicemail, get your voice heard on the show, unless you say something crazy, and then we will cut it. Call 682-253-4468. Thanks again for listening. Let's get into spoilers.
People that get bothered by the burps are like, I mean, we give you fair warning. It's in the intro music.
It's in the outro music. I don't know if
it's in the outro music.
Intro. But I mean,
whatever.
It's been a part of the show for what? Going on 7 years now?
It goes in waves, We go without for a while and then we bring it back,
The problem is, number one, I think burps are really funny, and so that's a part of the problem. The other part of the problem is I drink an energy drink every time we do this because I'm trying to, be pumped up. And it's got a lot of carbonation. It makes me burp. What can I say?
I know. I usually start the day with a Diet Coke from McDonald's, so it's in there,
Yeah. And hey, I could edit it out, but I truly think they're funny. I don't know what to say. Burps are hilarious. All right, so this movie starts out, and right off the bat, I was misunderstanding the movie because I thought to me it seemed like a scavenger going around town, and then he finds these 2 like babies that were left in this building. But it sounds like you're saying that these are his kids. He was returning home to them.
Yeah, I think if you're trying to communicate that he found the babies, it would have been he was running away and then he hears a baby cry. And then goes towards him, because he goes there and like uncovers them, and that's when they start making sound.
Okay. I have like big time stress out moments when movies have babies now, because not only like every time I'm watching a movie, I have the baby monitor right next to me and I'm listening for cries. And so I just have like 2 babies screaming their heads off at the beginning of this movie. And I'm like, please stop. You're stressing me out. Also, taking care of one baby in normal life is hard enough. Taking care of 2 babies in an apocalypse, like, I don't know. What do you do at that point?
Yeah.
You take the plunge off the waterfall together is maybe what you do. I mean, where would you find the baby food?
Yeah, that's probably what he was scavenging in the city. He's probably getting formula.
Man, that'd be tough. I mean, I live in a pre-apocalyptic world, barely. We'll say just barely. But it's already hard to find formula sometimes.
I know. It's crazy. It sells out, like sometimes it sells out. And you're like, what the hell?
Dude, you know what
During
drives
COVID,
me crazy?
It was crazy.
When I go to get like baby food, like the jars of like blended stuff, the vegetables are always gone. It's like these freaking mothers wanting their kids to be healthy are scooping up all the vegetables and leaving me with the sugary fruits. All I have are fruits. There's never any peas. Well, I want peas for my daughter. I can never find peas.
I mean, you could just blend it yourself.
No, I'm not going to do that. Also, people avoid the orange foods because it turns your baby orange when they eat too much orange food.
You'd have to be feeding it so much.
No. This is a real thing. When you introduce colors to babies, they kind of turn that shade for a little bit. And especially orange is the worst one. Like it turns their skin orange if you feed them too much orange food sometimes. So mothers will avoid orange. And then I'll go to the store and all there is, it's apricot, butternut squash, orange, freaking, they're all orange. It's frustrating.
Max's baby over here looking like an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah, come on. What were we talking about?
Arcadian.
Arcadian, okay. So 15 years pass, and the family, it's shown that at nighttime they have to quickly get inside before the sun goes down and lock all the doors because when nightfall approaches, creatures attack the house. And we don't get any shots of them yet. We just get kind of like some banging on the doors, kind of just setting up that there is danger, but we don't really know what, which I think is really effective in the beginning of the movie because for the next few scenes, they're going to like try to inch their way into showing the monster a little bit. And it's very creepy. Like you get like lots of hand shots. But man, do they go crazy with it at the end. I don't know. It's like they wanted to have their cake and eat it too. They're like, look at this tasteful, artistic way that we can show off how creepy these monsters are without actually showing you what they look like. Also, here's this thing.
Yeah. I mean, it seems a little inconsistent with what they're doing with the monster. It's like they're doing whatever serves that scene. So it has a giant hand that can reach across like a, 100 square foot room, with a fingernail that extends for some reason. And then also it's just a hungry hippo monster.
Yeah. Well, that scene is a little confusing about like how their anatomy works, but I think it's very creepy. Like,
yeah,
it shows off like how these aren't just like animals. They're like some sort of magical, like demonic creature.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's very Lovecraftian. It's very weird, very like otherworldly, cosmic, stuff. In the trivia, what was very interesting was, do you know what the director said that the design of the character was based off of?
No, what?
In an interview, director Ben Brewer stated that the monsters in the movie were inspired by the Disney character Goofy.
Now that I think about it, that dude look just like Goofy. That's hilarious.
And which gives me a whole new level of appreciation because I would love to do a re-edit of this movie using Goofy laughs, as they're attacking. So like,
Yeah, no, that would be great. I mean, now that you say that, I can't really unsee it. Which is a shame.
They shoot one, and the monster just goes, "Yo!"
It's the head. It's the head of the monster.
Yeah.
Just looks so silly. There's lots of, I don't know, because they kind of show some sort of like shape shifting ability in that like their anatomy can like move around and change a little bit, but then they just got this. They have goofy head.
Yeah, and then I mean we're skip forwarding to the end because you really don't see it until like the very end.
Yeah.
But when they show it, full bodied, they go ham because for some reason they made the very strong choice of right before it attacks, it just goes with its mouth. It's like for
it's
some
crazy.
reason.
That is, it's insane. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, I mean it's just very creepy and weird, but it serves zero purpose. Like what could you imagine? You just imagine like a leopard in the jungle stalking and creeping up to its prey, and then just walking out in front of it and going before it attacks. It's like, what? That's not how hunting works,
Yeah. It's a choice. It is.
Maybe
it
in its
is
dimension,
a strong choice.
That's like just a stunning device or something. Maybe whatever. I mean, it'd be great if they showed that had some sort of effect on people, that like it actually stunned them and made them not be able to move or something like that. But no, it's just,
or like show it being an effective like tool of like eating people, because they don't really show it. Like it does that chomping thing and then it attacks. Versus like if it were to like do that speed chomp on someone's face, maybe that would look scary.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But instead it's like
instead it's the hungry hippos.
It's the hungry hippos. Oh my goodness.
What if the monsters were just an interdimensional game of hungry hippos? Like some aliens across dimensions is just like controlling these monsters. Just
some kid in another world is just
oh no, they're running away. Form a wheel.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing is they can do like this Sonic the Hedgehog thing where they turn into a wheel and start rolling at like a very fast speed. But are they like grabbing onto each other's ankles and just like...
Yeah, it's like
all their movements are so
they're
weird.
like Cirque du Soleil monsters.
Yes. Quick, they're getting away. Grab my ankles.
What if they weren't even monsters? They were just an apocalyptic like version of Cirque du Soleil. Like all the Cirque du Soleil performers were like, we can go village to village and loot just as long as we wear these creepy interdimensional monster costumes. And we can, get from village to village by rolling like in our circus show.
Dude, I want to learn how to roll at high speeds.
It'd be useful.
It would be useful. Next horror movie talk live show, we're gonna roll together. We're gonna Cirque du Soleil roll. All right. So the first night is basically just to show you kind of what the world is about. But the second day we get a little more character development. We see Joseph is trying to recreate this, or not recreate, but fix, I guess, like an old utility buggy. And his father kind of gives him the last little trick to flip it on, and it's shown that he's very smart. He is very helpful around the house, and he just wants to do his duty. He's a lot more dutiful than his brother Thomas, who just wants to hang out with chicks and do his own thing. which is very teenager. Like that's the thing is like, even though they're in a very serious situation, like kids are gonna be kids.
You still gotta fuck, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've always thought that falling in love in an apocalypse it's got to be pretty easy, because if you're a kid and you meet one other kid your age, it's like, oh, that's my wife in 10 years. Like,
right.
Everyone knows it. I mean, you don't have to shop around is what I'm saying.
Mm. Yeah, it's true.
So
trauma bonding.
And also it's like, you got to perpetuate the human race.
Yeah. Did you ever watch that what was it? Was it The Last Man on Earth? With
yeah.
Will Forte?
Yeah.
That was such a great show.
Yeah, no, that was hilarious.
I'm just like, yeah. What if you were the last man on Earth, but you're a real asshole and no one wanted to have sex with you? Basically.
Well, and the best I only saw the first season. Did they cancel that show soon after?
I think it did 2 or 3 seasons. It got canceled right when they're like setting up another, storyline. It was kind of canceled before its time.
It's just funny because he thinks he's the only person alive, right? And then he meets one woman, but she's annoying.
Right.
And he's not like attracted to her. And so, but he's like, I mean, I guess she's my wife now because we're the only 2 people. And then after they get like quote unquote married, then a beautiful, sexy woman comes into the picture.
January Jones shows up. And you're like, yeah, that's such a good show. Will Forte is just one of the funniest guys in the world. And it's like, I love the stuff that he does, and it's just not for everyone, Like MacGruber is one of the best comedy movies made in the last like 20 years, and no one has seen it.
Between Two Ferns is really good too. Like every episode is funny.
That's not him. That's Zach Galifianakis.
Is he not the actor in?
No.
We're talking about 2 different shows then. Hold on. This is crazy. They are different. What? Yeah. Their faces look so similar.
They don't at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you kidding me? Those guys just look like they could be brothers.
Will Forte.
No, that's funny. I genuinely thought that Zach was in that show.
I don't know. So Zach Galifianakis.
Dude, they look like brothers. Come on. Okay, when he shaves his beard, not so much. But when they have the beard, they look very similar. Similar enough that I genuinely thought that he was him.
I mean, Zach Galifianakis most of the time is about 30 pounds heavier than Will Forte.
Sure.
Anyways. Yeah, Last Man on Earth was great. Arcadian.
It's also been like 10 years since I've seen that, to be fair.
Right,
so
right.
Arcadian. Yeah, so this is kind of a sweet moment where Paul, the dad, gets to teach his sons how to drive. Because now they have this little buggy thing, this little Jeep
Gator.
Yeah, it's like what is it? It's like the things that you drive
like
around.
A little utility vehicle. It's like a 4-wheeler.
Yeah, okay.
Utility thing.
So yeah, he gets to teach his sons how to drive, which is just great because it's exactly how it goes in real life when you're driving cars. Like the dad is just yelling at you and you're trying your best, but you're still like going way too fast and braking way too hard. I mean, it's relatable and it's a sweet moment.
Isn't it crazy, like, how much you take it for granted how hard driving was at the beginning? It's like you forget we're all bad. It was like,
well, and it's funny because it's just so easy.
Yeah. It's like, why is it so hard not to run into things when you're just learning how to drive? You
Dude,
know?
I wrecked my car multiple times as a teenager. Like, I haven't bumped into anything with my car since I was 17, almost 10 years. But 16 to 17, it was like every other month I was bumping something.
Yeah. No, it was embarrassing. Like, I got into 3 rear end collisions when I was younger. And like, the first one was like dumb. It was like, okay, this is just a teenager being a bad driver, which was like driving with my friends.
Yeah.
Looked over my shoulder at something that they pointed out on the side of the road and didn't notice the car in front of me was stopping. And that was like straight up like, okay, that was bad driving, just unaware driving. The second one was also dumb. It was like I hit a friend because we were screwing around, and like I had a friend in the passenger seat, and they're like, it'd be funny, like speed up and get right behind him, and like they were slowing down right as I was like getting close. And I was like, okay, fuck it. So it was two really, really stupid, like, you know, rear end collisions. And then the third one was like on a very, very short on ramp where like it was literally like just checking my blind spot and looking back, and someone was right in front of me all of a sudden because someone in front of them slammed on their brakes on the on ramp. I mean, it was like they should not have been slowing down. Whatever was going on, they should have been maintaining speed. And that one was like, God damn it. Because it's
was your dad always so mad when it happened?
No, this is great. Like, this is like so informative of my dad. My dad could get really angry. Like I've seen my dad angry, and it's at service workers. Unfortunately.
Sweet.
It was he would get mad every time we traveled, which, you know, was relatively frequent, like maybe twice a year or something like that. At least once a year we'd go on like travel on a plane. And
well, you guys had the club membership.
Yeah. No, my that was like I was rich growing up, and I didn't realize it because a lot of like the trappings of wealth weren't apparent to me. But the two ways that it was apparent was if my dad bought a new car for himself, he would just buy it in cash.
Nice.
Straight up. And then and we went and traveled. Other than that, like we lived in a nice house, but not a mansion. We lived in, you know, whatever. So whenever we traveled, my dad would inevitably blow up at like the gate agent or someone for not doing something right, or like a reservation that fell through or something like that. And it'd be him blowing up at this poor person. And then the other place that I'd see him blow up was if someone lied to him. And so it's always like, you don't want, you know, to wake the beast. And so I was terrified of telling my dad that I'd wrecked the car. And each and every time, he did not give a fuck. He was like, are you okay? You know? And that's what's important. It's just a car, you know? Do better next time. You know, it's a learning experience. And even in the third time, like even then, it was like, well, shit happens, you know? That, I mean, it was such a gift because I think he could also see that I was beating the shit out of myself for it. Like it was, course. I was having such a bad time with myself and worrying about it that like there's nothing that he could do or say that would like make me feel worse about it. So yeah, I mean that's an interesting thing.
Yeah,
the only time I've ever seen his anger directed at a person in the family is when my sister lied to him. Like she said she was going to be somewhere when she was a teenager, and he had to go get her for some reason, I don't know. And he went to the place that she said she was, and she wasn't there. And when she came home, he asked her where she was, and she said, at
And
the
she
place
lied.
that I told you. And he was like, you lied to me. And it was like, I was lying in bed upstairs, just like, he was so angry at her. It was like wild. So don't lie to my dad. Don't interrupt him. That was another thing that he hated when you're a kid and doing kid things. If he's talking to someone, and it was very much like a, mother dog or a lion correcting, just like, rawr!
Yeah.
And the puppy or cub would just be like,
yeah. Well, yeah, my grandpa did construction, and so while my dad was going to college, he did construction with my grandpa. And I'll tell you what, my dad is the nicest man I've ever met, but he gets so angry doing construction, which is a shame because he loves doing it.
yeah.
And he's awesome. Like, he comes over to my house like every other weekend to help me install something or like remodel something. And it's the only time he ever yells at me is when he's fixing something. And
It's that meme of hold the flashlight.
Exactly. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue. I'm like handing him the wrong things. I'm dropping things. And it's just funny because I always turn to my wife and I'm like, this is how he shows his love. Like, he yells at you while he fixes your door. And that's just the way he tells you he loves you.
Some would call it toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
I just call it like,
That's just my dad.
and yeah, it's being a dad. Sometimes yelling helps. Like, people don't give yelling credit. Like, sometimes it's better to curse and yell out the door than punch a hole through it,
It is better. Yeah. The best would probably be to take a deep breath, but it's better than punching the door. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Anyways,
Taking a deep breath takes so much time, though.
I know.
You got
3
to
whole seconds.
pause. You got to stop what you're doing. Like, you can curse at something while you're cranking a wrench,
You can, in fact. Yeah.
Yeah. I challenge you to keep working on something and take a deep breath at the same time. You can't do it. You got to slow down. You got to pause and take a deep breath. And we don't have time for that.
No, that's right. I mean, listen, I get it. I almost flooded my house trying to install a new vanity the other day. It was awful. All right.
Did you learn where your house's main water shutoff was that day?
Well, I knew where my main water shutoff was. It was funny because I knew I didn't know what I was doing, but for some reason, when I started it, I was like, this is easy. And I hooked it up. And I was like, now all I have to do is turn the water back on and it'll be good to go. And then I turned the water back on and I just hear in the other room, whoosh, like water just spraying everywhere. I'm like, ah! So I turned it off and I go in there and I'm mopping up all the water. I'm like, where did I go wrong? And then I was like needing to go get adapters so that it would hook on properly. And then I had to call my uncle and be like, I don't understand. And then he came over and did it for me. So that's just the way of owning a house.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. We really got to talk about this movie.
Okay.
This is where our 1 stars come from, Bryce. We talk about life too much.
Yeah. So the 2 kids, so it's very apparent that Thomas wants to just go and do his own thing and not be held accountable to his father or his brother. And part of that is like fucking off to this other farm and obviously to be around this girl. But he's doing work for the other farm, which includes, it was unclear. It seemed like it was just a family, but then there was like a bunch of farmhands. So it's probably like a
group of survivors.
Yeah.
But it's a nice, I think even without the girl there, he would still enjoy being there because it's much nicer than where he lives. Like, it's cultivated. They have resources. They have like nice food.
They have sheep.
They have sheep that ram their heads together all the time.
Mhm.
Sheep are hilarious, dude.
And then this is the part that like confused me a lot, was that didn't seem like they had any barricades or anything like hunkering down the place.
Well,
It was like all just large windows.
They mentioned that the farm never gets attacked by monsters. Like,
Yeah.
they just don't go there. So it could be like maybe they have it more like lit up, and so they have a hard time getting in. But I don't know. Like the kids and their father, their house like gets attacked every night. Like,
right.
They're trying to get in there, but the farm seems to be a much safer place.
Yeah. So he goes off there, and then the way we're introduced to him as a teenager is he's coming back late, and he almost doesn't make it by nightfall. That's like the big overarching danger, is being out at nightfall. And then he was supposed to help his brother scavenge wood, and then he instead fucks off to the farm and isn't back in time at the meeting place.
Well,
and
I thought this was really funny because it's a case of a kid like shirking off his responsibilities and not really being a team player and just being kind of selfish. But also, I do think and the dad takes responsibility too. He says, no, this is my fault. And he doesn't even get mad. And I think that's valid because it kind of was his fault. He sent his 2 teenage sons who just learned how to drive to go scavenge for wood while he smoked a cigar under a waterfall. Like, he just hung out while his kids went and did that.
That's true. I didn't even think of that. That is pretty funny. Yeah. So which one is it? Thomas, yeah.
Coming back, slips and falls into like a ravine cave type thing.
And then Joseph has to go try and save him in the middle of the night, and then that's when disaster strikes.
Paul has to go try and save him. Joseph is his brother.
Paul, Nic Cage goes and saves him, inadvertently causing an explosion in cave-in that sends Nic Cage into a coma. It's a little unclear. Like, that's the one thing about this movie, is that it's very, again, I can't tell whether it's the movie or my shitty TV that I watch it on.
But it's dark.
But it was super dark, and it was hard to understand what was going on. But from what I gather, Nic Cage got his hand caught in this rock pile, and then tried to use an explosive device, and it exploded while his hand was still in there, which means that he should have blown his hand off, but it didn't seem like there was any. It was unclear what his injuries were, other than he was a little bloodied and he was in a coma.
So this is what I gathered, because it was extreme. It was a very dark scene as well for me. Like, I was really struggling to see what was on the screen. But they're in this cave. There's all these monsters. And this is the first time we get an inkling of the monsters are burrowing under the ground, because the ground starts to fall in and you hear all the monsters down there. And I think what Paul does is he takes like a stick of dynamite or something and sticks his hand down in the hole to like blow up the monsters or something. Like somehow his arm gets caught in the explosive. And when they're talking to the people at the farm, they say that his hand blew up, but later on in the movie it seems like both his hands are fine, so I don't know. Did
they ever say his hand blew up? I thought he just said they needed medicine. They were very vague.
I think they did say like his hand. I'd have to rewatch the scene to figure out exactly what they said.
Yeah.
But.
So, anyways, like to me it was unclear like what his actual injuries were, because they don't show it.
Yeah.
Like if they're going to say his hand is blown up, show a bloody stump or something. Show his arm wrapped up, and it just showed him kind of bloodied and beat up. It looks like more like he got in a fist fight with the monster and lost, really.
Yeah. But
so from then on, Nic Cage is just laid up in bed, and then it's the 2 kids trying to figure out how to go about it. And they go back to the farm to get medicine, and then the farm people just say, yeah, no, fuck off. Actually, Thomas, you can stay. Which is brutal.
Yeah,
It's like,
it is brutal. I mean, it's very like Walking Dead-esque. Did you ever watch Walking Dead?
yeah, the first like 3 or 4 seasons.
Okay, I watched like the first 10 seasons. I was pretty into it for a while, but yeah, it's like the humanity just begins to be stripped out of these people and it's replaced by survival. And it's like, oh, your dad who takes care of you is in a coma. Like, I mean, we're not going to give you anything. Like, what if we need it? So,
yeah.
And no, you can't stay in our house, even though we have a bunch of extra rooms. Like, you'll take up food. Like, that's not okay. So, it's very brutal. It's, and Joseph kind of knew that would be the case all along. Thomas was the hopeful one who thought that they liked him enough to help his family. But really, they're like, I mean, we do like you. You can stay, but we're not going to help your family.
Yeah, and they say, I mean, they don't necessarily turn Joseph away. They just say, like, you'll have more supplies if it's just you and your dad. But it's also like, I mean, I think it's implied that everyone understands that it's a death sentence.
Yeah.
Anyways, because, I mean, honestly, to them, it'd probably be pretty useful to have another 15-year-old boy as a farmhand for long term. But yeah, so that happens, and then...
so we skipped over a couple things that I think are important to mention. Joseph catches one of the creatures in a trap.
Right.
And Thomas is like, he feels like he has to prove something. He feels like he has to, because Joseph is very capable. Like, he is able to do some very impressive things. And Thomas, I think, feels envious of his brother. And he wants to prove that he's a man. And so he opens the cage and tries to kill it. And eventually Joseph actually has to, trap it again and kill it. So that's an important scene. Another important scene is when they do go to the farm, the boys get into a fight. And I think that's important for their... Yeah.
I mean, Thomas almost kills Joseph. It's
just strangles him.
The thing that the theme in this movie very strongly to me is like the Cain and Abel story. It's very much like they're definitely using some tropes of Cain and Abel because Thomas is jealous. He tries to kill Joseph, doesn't complete the task, but it's very much like dictated by pride and jealousy, their relationship. The good news is that they don't kill each other and they actually start working together by the end.
They reconcile, and it's a sweet moment. Like, there is some real humility at the end for Thomas where he realizes that he does care about his family more than this other random family. And he wants to put in the work to be there for them. He tries, while he's at the farm, he tries to steal some medicine for his dad, which if that was the plan all along, honestly, pretty good plan. Like, if they had like walked away from the farm and been like, hey, let's like fake a fight, show that we're upset at each other. I'll go live with them for like a day or two, and then I'll sneak off with the medicine. Like, that would have been a good plan. Unfortunately, they kind of just fumble into that plan because they're actually upset at each other. But
yeah, and it ends up, I mean, the other thing about the plot is, it ends up that the medicine doesn't matter. I don't think they ever show him getting the medicine. Nick Cage even kind of wakes up and is like, oh, hey guys.
Well, my other question was like, what's the medicine? Like,
right.
They never say what it is. Like, is it antibiotics? Which would probably be helpful. Is it like pain meds? They never say.
Yeah, I think you'd assume it's antibiotics.
Sure.
But yeah. I mean, they talk about like, I mean, that's the other thing is like, we need medicine. And they find the medicine, which is a bottle. It's like, okay, so you literally have no medical supplies other than this bottle of one type of medicine. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, I wouldn't give that up either. You have one bottle of antibiotics.
Yeah.
It takes a full bottle of antibiotics to work through a problem.
Yeah, I was assuming something like, bandages, alcohol, all that stuff. And it was like, no, just a bottle of of unlabeled medicine.
It's actually just random pills that we threw in together and mixed up. So
it was probably actually birth control pills.
yeah. It's just like B12 vitamins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what if he found the medicine? It was just in a birth control, calendar thing. Just the rotating.
It's just, it's Accutane.
Uh-huh.
He's still going to die, but he's
Probably
going to look hot.
Helped, Yeah. He was a little splotchy after the explosion.
Skin would have been beautiful. So he actually, Thomas gets caught sneaking out with the medicine, and these farmhands basically tie him up and act like they're going to torture him to death for trying to steal
they're going to
medicine.
blow off his fucking foot with a shotgun,
crazy.
Which is crazy. At least chop it off with a machete. That's the humane thing to do.
And he's it's one thing in an apocalyptic world to if a grown man begs to get into your civilization and then tries to steal from you, that's one thing. You might want to punish that guy. But a kid who you invited to stay there tries to sneak off with some pills for his dad, and you're going to blow off his foot?
Yeah, and they never even ask the girl whether she gave it to him. They're just being jerks.
I think they have bloodlust, dude.
Yeah, true.
But the monsters actually save him before he loses his foot, because it's revealed, which was kind of alluded to earlier, that they are tunneling under the houses, and they just start poking up through the house and killing everybody.
Yeah. And then we got, Goofy's Wild Adventure at the end of the movie. And the Joseph's genius plan as to what if we explode the entire house?
Yeah.
I love the line of the girl. She's like, what do you mean we? You exploded your house. I actually killed 50 of them with a shotgun. It's like, anyone can explode their house. It's not a genius plan.
And
it
really
didn't even work,
to...
is the thing. They still were rolling after him in a flaming ball.
Yeah. They really build up this plan too, because he's like, just trust me, I have a plan. And they're like, okay, we trust you. We don't understand the plan, but this is the plan. And then the plan is literally, what if we lit this place on fire and got inside of a freezer?
Yeah, and got in the middle of it. They just went full Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull with their plan.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy that plan. I don't know if that plan works.
No, they would cook to death inside the fridge.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And it wasn't even a good plan because they didn't even have room for Nic Cage anyways inside the fridge.
Exactly. There was no room for the fourth person. You know what would have been funny though? Not funny. It would have been horrifying actually, but it would have just shown how dumb this plan is if the kids get in the freezer and they shut it and the explosion goes off and they're safe, and then they try to get out and they can't get out. They can't unlatch it from the inside, and
because the house had collapsed on top of it.
Yeah, they just starve to death and suffocate inside this. That's my biggest fear is getting inside of either a fridge or a washing machine and getting stuck.
Yeah.
Did you know that in Lilo and Stitch, there's a scene where Lilo hides inside the washing machine and Disney had to edit that part out?
I did not.
If you go watch it now, she gets inside a basket. But it used to be inside a washing machine.
That's very responsible of Disney.
Yes.
So, yeah, I guess the last thing to mention is that Nic Cage sacrifices himself to delay the monsters in time to blow them up.
I don't even know if he needed to do that. I mean, no. he couldn't get in the fridge or the freezer or whatever, but
yeah, he was probably just over it, It's like, fuck this shit. Like, you guys will be fine.
Like, weren't they gonna light the place on fire anyways? Like, he just did it prematurely with him in the middle.
Right. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, they should have added like a thing of it didn't go off as planned, and so he had to sacrifice himself. That would have been more. It didn't seem like anything went wrong though that he had to correct. It was literally just standing in the way of the monsters that were going to die anyways.
Yeah. So yeah, it ends with them driving away, and the flame of creature is rolling after them, and then they like shoot it, and it dissipates, I guess.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of the end of the movie. They decide that they're gonna like go off into the sunset and try to find a new home. They have a little memorial service for their parents. It's a sweet ending. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. Like I was pleasantly surprised with it. It's a decent movie. It's better than some of the movies that we've watched this year.
Yes.
That were in theaters, so yeah, go check it out on Hoopla.
Or Hulu. Alrighty. So let's move on to a short discussion about some movies that have come out in the last year or two that we didn't get to, that we weren't able to review. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
Sure. And I think, it's not saying that we would never be able to cover these. It's just, they skipped over the new release. But it's something that, I think these are all ones that I'm kind of curious of watching.
Yeah. Well, the problem is it's just really hard to fit them in when we miss them, because there's new releases coming out constantly, and we have the patron episode. People probably don't realize that we very rarely get to pick the movie we're watching.
Unless you're Sydney, and then you get to pick
Sydney
it all
picks
the
the movie every freaking time. What is up with that? How does it always work out that their week is a freebie? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so my first one, and it was mentioned in our Facebook group, limited release. It's probably streaming somewhere now, is The Ugly Stepsister.
Oh.
Have you heard of that one?
I think I saw the post on our Facebook group, but I didn't, I've never looked at a trailer or anything.
It's, it's kind of a horror comedy going off of the Cinderella story, but told through the lens of the ugly stepsister. And so, like, it's like leaning into some of the more, when you listen to a folk tale or a fairy tale in the original, telling of it, there's usually some really dark and like disturbing stuff that's in it. Like, I think in the original fairy tale, the ugly stepsisters actually like chopped off their foot or chopped off part of their foot to try to put it in the glass slipper.
Yeah. And
so it's kind of playing off that idea, and it's mostly about kind of plastic surgery and stuff. But the trailer looked really interesting. My wife brought it up to me and said like it looked cool. But it was in limited release for a very short time, and it skipped by. But yeah, I'm curious if it's streaming anywhere. That's on my short list to like get back to.
Yeah. I think one.
It's on Shudder, so we could do it.
Yeah. One that came out that I thought was kind of fun, and I did watch this. I don't know if you saw it too, but Cobweb. I think it came out in 2024.
No.
It's starring Anthony Starr, who is just incredible, and
Homelander.
It's Homelander. It's about a kid growing up in this like farmhouse with his parents, and his parents are just super shady. They tell him like you can't like go in the attic or whatever, and he learns that he has a long lost sister living in the walls. So it's pretty crazy.
Kid in the Walls movie. Okay.
It's creepy. It's another one of those where it's kind of like this movie where it kind of like just gets so crazy at the end that you're like, what am I watching? But for a while, it's a very slow burn, creepy movie.
My next one, we skipped over. This was actually, I think, I'll throw Sydney under the bus again, because I think this was the case where Sydney had chosen a movie to watch, and I didn't check whether there was any new releases to counteract them. Mm-hmm. And at some point, Sydney was like, what are we going to watch this week? And I was like super like passive aggressive and just like posted what they had already said we were going to do since it was their week. And then I realized like, oh, that's why they asked, because they actually understood that there was a new release coming out, and that was Drop. You know, seems like a super disposable movie. Like, yeah, I wasn't super excited about it, but it got pretty good reviews for what it was. So I'm kind of curious why it got such good reviews, and might be worth revisiting. That's the one that it's the horror movie over Apple AirDrops, you know.
Yeah, I got to be honest, I was not looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
I was fine with skipping that one, but
that was one where it's like, yeah, I mean, some of those that you look at and you're like, I don't give a shit about Drop. Sometimes they end up being good. Like, I didn't give a shit about Final Destination Bloodlines, but it ended up being really good.
Well, that's a really good example, because I was on the fence. I was like saying like, guys, I don't even know if we should review Final Destination Bloodlines because it looks stupid and I would rather go see Clown in the Cornfield. But we ended up watching it and I liked it. It was fun.
It's got the most downloads of a lot of recent episodes.
So another 2024 movie that was really big that we should probably cover at some point is Hirisa the Bone Woman. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but
no, that was like 2 or 3 years ago, wasn't it?
I thought it was 2024. Hirisa the Bone Woman. Let's see when it came out. Okay, 2022. So it actually was a few years ago. I was wrong. I only watched it like last year, so maybe that's why I thought. No,
that one's been recommended before.
Yeah, I mean it's an important film to do at some point, I think, because it, number one, is scary, and number two, like, talks about some really important themes. I think it's going to be a very divisive episode because, and I've talked about this before, and I've gotten some flack for this opinion. I think the themes it talks about are important. I'm not so sure I like the way it talks about them. Like, I think it wasn't as tasteful as I would have liked, but people rave about that movie. Like, people really like it, especially people who, let's just say, I think Sydney would love that movie.
Okay. Another one that was kind of a big release that kind of was, I didn't care about it enough, was Blink Twice.
Blink Twice.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting in retrospect because it's kind of a thriller that's very similar to or uses some of the tropes that are in the news, which would be like Diddy's freakouts or or like the Epstein Island. It's with Channing Tatum is a rich guy and invites a bunch of people out to his island, and then nefarious stuff happens or something like that. So I'm not sure how good it is necessarily, but it's got a fresh Rotten Tomatoes rating, and it'd probably be interesting to review in terms of like, talking about Diddy and Epstein, really. Yeah,
sure. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss any of the like recent ones that I really enjoyed. Did we haven't reviewed I Saw the TV Glow, have we?
Yeah, we did.
We did?
Yeah, on Patreon, I think.
That's funny. I don't remember doing that.
I remember it because I didn't like it that much.
Oh, hold on. I just thought of a really good one, actually. Wait. That's 2018. What am I smoking, dude? Okay. There's two spider movies that have come out in the last year or two that are both decent. I mean, they're kind of schlocky, but Infested, which is very similar to Arachnophobia, where it's kind of like these super tarantulas that are everywhere and end up killing everybody. That one was enjoyable. And then one that I actually watched last night is called Sting, which has got a really interesting premise. It's about a spider about that big that comes down in a meteor from space. It's an alien, and it lands in a house. Like the meteor is also very tiny, so it makes a little tiny hole in the house. And a girl puts it in a jar, and it grows from being this regular house spider to a monstrous animal that like eats people.
No, I remember seeing the trailer for Sting, and it looked good. You know, I actually don't know if we covered I Watched the TV Globe. And you know what? I think I watched that in October, and I think I talked about it at some point, but I don't think we ever officially reviewed it. So yeah, we could probably still do that one.
I mean, we've all seen it, and we've kind of like had conversations about it. I don't know if we need to. Sydney would probably really like to go back and do that one. I know they really liked that movie.
Yeah. I think it might have just gone over my head anyways. I was just like, this is weird and kind of a bummer.
It's a very boring movie.
Yeah.
But I loved the ending. Like, the ending was fantastic, but... All right, you got any more? Or
I got one more
okay.
that kind of went by us. The Rule of Jenny Penn with... what's his name? It's like ventriloquist or something in the retirement home. It's with what's his name? John Lithgow in it, and Jeffrey Rush is in it too. So it's kind of some older actors, and it looks really creepy. I heard good things about it, but I actually don't know that much about it.
That's interesting. I've never heard of that one either. It's funny that we had zero overlap.
Yeah, I thought we'd have overlap.
The last one I watched that at the time I was campaigning for us to watch it, but it was a new release, but it wasn't a theatrical release. And so it was kind of like we can do it or we don't have to, but Stop Motion was,
yeah.
It was decent. Like, I watched it and I had fun with it. The best part about it is the actual stop motion parts, which aren't actually that many, but it's really well done. Like, whoever did the stop motion for that movie, it was incredible. It was very scary. And it's got a nice fun little story. It's not the best movie in the world, but I think it would have been fun to review.
Yeah. I think I was so burned by Mad God. I'm like, I'm done with stop motion. I'm done with these.
Mad
pretentious
God,
stop motion artist.
Mad God is so beautiful, but also like so boring.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like, it seems like in little bits and little vignettes, it'd be really cool to watch and really high quality. But as a film watching experience, it was just like watching paint dry.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that was fun. Now maybe we have a little more context of like what we want to cover in the future. Man, it's so hard to pick movies to watch when you get the chance because there's so many good ones that you want to get to.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll end it on this. Is there a movie, doesn't have to be a new release or one that came out in the past couple of years, but is there a movie you were like dying to review the next time you get an opportunity?
No, I don't. There's always like, see, that's the thing. There's always like kind of a dozen that I have in the back of my mind that like, it's based on whether I'm in the mood for it or not. But yeah, usually, I've said this before. I usually just go back to like the top 100 list kind of stuff and just be like, which one of these haven't we covered?
Yeah, that's smart.
Like, what's too old to where it'd probably be better as a pretentious review on Patreon, and what's like, I can't believe we haven't covered this yet. Those are getting fewer and far between, but they're still still some that come up.
Honestly, that's taken one for the team because I feel like it would be really nice to just be like, I like this movie. I want to do this movie. But looking at like a list of like important horror movies and being like, what would be good for the pod?
Yeah, I mean, I've done this for almost 7 years now. So like all those that are like, I like this movie. I've pretty much covered all of those of the ones that I've picked. Now it's like, I would rather watch a good movie that we haven't covered than revisit a, kind of shitty movie.
Well, I'll give you my short list of movies that I would really like to cover. Martyrs, Frankenhooker, The Blob, Splice, The Fourth Kind, The Sixth Sense. We've never done The Sixth Sense. Did you know that?
We didn't?
I don't think so. I don't think there's a Sixth Sense episode.
I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, look it up. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's one of my favorite movies, actually.
Yeah. You're right. We never did do The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's probably one that we need to do soon. It's a huge movie.
Huh.
Maybe one of the best horror movies ever made.
I mean, probably it's contender for best PG-13 horror movie ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just watched that with my daughter, so like feels like we did it, but I guess we didn't. I just assume that if I've watched a horror movie, it's been on Horror Movie Talk at this point. Like if I've watched it within the last 6 years, because I'm usually like, I'm not going to watch a horror movie if I'm not going to review it, because that's just a waste of time, Well,
it's funny. I've been trying to catch up on like some important horror movies that I just haven't seen yet. People, and this is another thing we get stupid comments and negative reviews about, is like, oh, you're a horror movie podcast, but you haven't seen all of the Final Destination movies? Like, okay, like, yeah. Sometimes I don't want to watch every movie in a franchise. Sorry. Also, the people who leave those comments are like 45-year-olds who have 20 years of movie watching experience over me. Like, give me some time.
And they probably watched them in the theater because they were big fans of the franchise.
Like, come on, man. Give me time to catch up.
My reaction to that is like
1999.
Yeah, my reaction to that is like, okay, start your own podcast if you think you're the expert. Yeah. Like, what do you... Who cares? It's just my opinion. You can move along or not. Like,
right. But anyways, I do want to like have a good knowledge of like all the important ones. So I've been trying to go through and watching a bunch of those recently. I think I've already talked about it on the Afterpod, but
I think people that are outside the fandom of specific franchises don't give a shit about if you've seen. It's always the people that are like Halloween fans that are like, you haven't seen Halloween 5? How could you be a horror movie reviewer without seeing Halloween 5? But other horror movie fans
like don't care.
That don't care about Halloween, don't give a shit either. It's like, there's so many franchises. Like, do I have to see every Halloween movie, every Jason movie, every Freddy movie? Like, every single one of those? Because there's a lot of dog shit in there. And I think everyone agrees.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of dog shit franchise movies in every franchise. So it's like, maybe I just need to see the good ones or the ones that come out, whatever.
Or like the original that had the most impact on society.
Yeah. In summary, fuck you, guy.
A comment like that was left on our last episode, by the way. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening.
But also, please leave a 5-star review for us on Apple.
Our Apple rating is dive bombing.
Yeah, it's rough. I think it's like I think everyone that likes us, that subscribed to us, has already left a 5-star review. And it's now just like new people where it's like a crapshoot of whether they're going to like it or not. And
yeah. And I mean, we get new listeners all the time, but a lot of them like either listen to 2 minutes of one episode and decide to leave a 1-star review,
Uh-huh.
or they love it. And so it's really hard to tell. But I mean, we don't have like we have a 4.3. It's not like we have like a abysmal rating. It's just not helping us in the charts to be as low as we
for
are.
the most part, it's been like above 4.5 for most of the podcasts. It's just, I don't know.
You know, and I actually also went to the other like popular horror movie podcast, and like a lot of them struggle with the same thing on Apple podcasts. Maybe their rating isn't quite as low as us, but like they still have like a ton of 1-star reviews being like too political. I didn't like that they didn't like this movie, or like their voice is annoying. Like just these stupid reasons to leave 1-star reviews.
Yeah. Yeah.
So leave a 5-star review, or don't leave a review at all, because I will fight you with my fists. Thanks again for listening. We appreciate you.
Thanks again.
We love you. Even if you leave a 1-star review, we actually love you. You're a human being with value. So,
You know, the other thing, Max, like, have you thought about just being better?
I have, and actually I've been trying. I don't know if you've noticed, but I put a lot of effort into the edit of the last episode.
Yeah, I did notice, and I think it is commendable. Yeah. We're not just complaining about reviews. We do care, and like, we do want to be better. But, you know, after you've heard like the 70th review about like, these guys are dumb. Okay. That doesn't give me anything to work off of. But, yeah.
Well, yeah, and we got that comment the other day that was like, what is this audio? This is the first time I'm listening to this, and this is trash. I'm never listening again. And then like they commented later and was like, actually, it was my bad. Like the audio is fine. Like the settings were wrong or something. And it's like, okay, then can you hold off leaving the negative reviews, please, then?
Yeah.
But we love you guys, and we are trying to do better. When the episodes are bad, it's usually because our lives are
bad,
too busy, and we don't have time to put in the effort, but we're trying to put in more effort right now. So thank you for listening. Call 682-253-4468 to be on the show. We love you. Go to patreon.com/horror movie talk if you want to vote for a movie like this one, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Good day, sir. Good day, sir. You lose. You get nothing.
Is that a raincoat? Yes, it is.
I just took a stroll through the scraggly woods.
He had no face.
Horror!
Wow, that didn't sound good.